sparring over national security. Ron Paul taking aim at the Patriot Act during the debate last night. But Newt Gingrich was quick to disagree.
I think the Patriot Act is unpatriotic because it undermines our liberty. I'm concerned, as everybody is, about the terrorist attack. Timothy McVeigh was a vicious terrorist. He was arrested. Terrorism still on the books, internationally and nationally, is a criminal. It's a crime, and we should deal with it. Today, it seems too easy that our government and our Congresses are so willing to give up our liberties for our security. I have a personal belief that you never have to give up liberty for security. You can still provide security without sacrificing our Bill of Rights.
You want to respond, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah. Timothy McVeigh succeeded. That's the whole point. Timothy McVeigh killed a lot of Americans. I don't want a law that says, after we lose a major American city, we're sure going to come and find you. I want a law that says, you try to take out an American city, we're going to stop you.
Alan Colmes, host of The Alan Colmes Show, and Justin Safey, former spokesman for Jeb Bush and publisher of SafeyReview.com, join us to talk about this. Thanks for joining us, fellas.
Hi.
Hey, Justin, I want to start with you, and you disagree with Ron Paul.
Absolutely, I disagree with him. I have to agree with Speaker Gingrich on this. First of all, Timothy McVeigh was able to commit an act of terrorism, and the goal of the Patriot Act is to prevent acts of terrorism. That's the president's chief responsibility, is to provide for the national defense. It's a constitutional duty. I also don't think that Ron Paul got it right when he said that you don't have to sacrifice freedom for security, the Bill of Rights. The Second Amendment is a very important right to bear arms, yet millions of Americans are going to be traveling on airplanes today, and they forfeit their right to carry arms. And I don't think that most Americans believe that the Second Amendment believes that states that you should be able to bring rifles and handguns and shotguns onto airplanes. That's one example where Ron Paul's philosophy is bumper sticker politics, and it's just wrong.
And Alan, what about you? What do you think? What about the right of people to be secure in their persons and their houses and effects?
We have that right. The Patriot Act, in fact, you should ideally be against the Patriot Act like Ron Paul is, because part of the Patriot Act is they could look at your gun records. They could look at your library records. They don't even need a name or attached to a search warrant, and they don't even need probable cause. So I would think if you're someone who favors gun rights, you'd be very much against the Patriot Act. Ron Paul is exactly right on this, and I really like Ron Paul, although not in everything as a liberal Democrat, but he's got it exactly right on this, and he's a very important voice in this debate because he is standing up for being free. And once we do sacrifice our safety in the name of freedom, we, as Benjamin Franklin said, deserve neither. And the idea that it almost sounds trite to say the terrorists have won, but they don't take away our freedom, we do. And that's what we're doing here with the Patriot Act, which is unpatriotic. So you're completely
comfortable, Alan, with someone getting on a plane with you, say you're headed home for Thanksgiving, and they're armed. You're completely comfortable with that.
I didn't say that. However, there's no evidence that the Patriot Act is going to prevent that. There's no evidence that the Patriot Act would ever have prevented Tim McVeigh. I think Newt Gingrich, although I think he was right last night in immigration, was really wrong about this. He doesn't know that the Patriot Act would have stopped Tim McVeigh or would have found him or gotten him or stopped the horrible act he committed beforehand. There's no evidence the Patriot Act would do any of that. Which is why it's so important to preserve our freedom and preserve the Constitution. Conservatives say they love the Constitution. How about honoring it?
Yeah, Justin, here's something we do know, though. 42 terrorist attacks aimed at the U.S. have been thwarted since 9/11. We know that, right?
We do know that, and that's the whole point. The point is that, a point was made in the debate last night, that during the 2000 election, George W. Bush was not asked once about al-Qaeda. 2001, 9/11 changed that, and we now know that we have people that want to commit acts of terrorism in the United States. That justifies a more vigilant response, and it justifies the Patriot Act. And again, I'm absolutely sensitive to the fact that we do want to protect our freedoms. We don't want to become a police state. But even with the Patriot Act, America is the freest country on earth, and that's our competitive advantage against other countries. And I don't think that anyone can challenge that.
I don't know what that means, that we're the freest country on earth. That sounds like a bumper sticker. When the more we have of these Patriot Acts, the more we have these kinds of battening down the hatches and going after possibly American citizens, or the idea that the president can declare anybody an enemy combatant which is overreaching on the executive branch. Now, we think we're safer. This is an illusion, because we're going to get attacked again, sadly. And it's an illusion that we are somehow safer because of these laws. We're not. We're not. And we've really compromised our values because of it.
I have to wrap you up. That has to be the final word. But thank you so much for your insight, both of you. Alan, I'll see you in the hallway. Justin, thank you as well.
I want a law that says, you try to take out an American city, we're going to stop you.
This is like saying that we need a policeman in every house, a camera in every house, because we want to prevent child beating and wife beating. You can prevent crimes by becoming a police state. So if you advocate the police state, yes, you can have safety and security, and you might prevent a crime, but the crime then will be against the American people and against our freedoms, and we will throw out so much of what our revolution was fought for. So don't do it so carelessly.